What is up guys, Stark here. In today's video I am doing the final character spotlight for the Wave 2 batch of characters. And you know what they say guys, you always save the best for last. But in this situation, I might have done the opposite. So if you guys have been keeping up with my videos, you know that the final character I'm going to talk about is Fionn. And as much as I would like to say this character is very bad, don't use him, and end the video there. For the sake of being a completionist, I will go ahead and do my best to give this character some sort of justice, but I do not make any promises whatsoever. So Fionn is a 4-star Lancer who will go up to level 80, and at level 80 he will have 12,750 HP, and he will have 8,930 attack. So this will rank him 28th overall in HP and 49th overall in attack. So overall he does have some very solid stats, being top 50 in both attack and HP. And if you do decide to max him out completely, he will end up with 17,459 HP and 12,812 attack. So now let's go ahead and talk about his servant skills. First up is going to be the Clairvoyance B, which is a self buff that will greatly increase his critical star drop rate for 3 turns. So this skill honestly isn't really that good. It does give you a 19% increase at level 1, and it will go up to a 38% increase at level 10. But Fionn is one of those rare arts lancers, so he doesn't really make too much use of crit stars and crit damage. Now, having crit damage and critical stars is always a good thing. It's never going to be a bad thing to have the extra damage. But he's more focused on arts teams, and arts teams don't really deal with crits. They deal with null Phantasm spam. So it's kind of a misplaced skill. However, though, it does have a rank up quest that will make the skill significantly better, and what it will do is it will change the self buff aspect of it and make it a party wide buff, and it will also increase the amount of your gain for the star drops. And so it'll start at 30% at level 1 and it'll go up to 50% at level 10. So that is a huge buff right there. But in addition to that, it will also add an additional effect which will increase your normal Phantasm gain of all of your allies for 3 turns, and this will start at 10% at level 1 and goes up to 30% at level 10. So the changes to this skill definitely make the skill worth it in some aspects if you're actually going to be using Fionn. But again, it doesn't really take away from the fact that crits aren't really that important in arts teams. But, you know, having the second effect there to increase your normal Phantasm gain is really nice because Fionn sorely lacks in that category. So it kind of makes up for his weaknesses just a little bit, but definitely not enough to make this character very good. So moving on here to his second skill, this is going to be the Trouble with Women A. Now again, this is a self buff, but this is a pretty solid skill if you just look at the actual effects. And what it does is it will have a chance to apply evasion for 1 turn, and then it will also apply target focus for 1 turn, but it does have a negative effect where it will decrease your charm resistance rate. But like I said, it is a fairly solid skill, but it does suffer from some major drawbacks, and the first one being its ridiculously long cooldown. It starts at 12 turns, which is just absurd, honestly. And the other major thing here is that it has only a chance to apply evasion, which is really bad. It'll start at 60% at level 1, so it's not terrible at level 1, but it only has a maximum chance of working at level 10. So that means you have to max out the skill completely before it's even like remotely useful. And then even at level 10, it only has a 10-turn cooldown, so it's still going to be a ridiculously long cooldown, and you're not going to be able to make much use out of it. But, you know, there is the benefit of having that taunt, so if you do have it max level, it is usable in the fact that you could use the taunt to save your team from dying. But overall, it's just not a good skill overall when you look at everything put together. But it does definitely have its uses. Next up for his third and final skill is going to be the Magecraft, which will increase its arts card effectiveness for 1 turn. So this is this is definitely his best skill, I think. It'll give you a 24% increase at level 1, goes up to a 40% increase at level 10. It's got a 7-turn, charge time, so it's about as good as you could hope it to be. It does only last 1 turn though, which is a little bit unfortunate, but you're going to use that on your burst turn, and he does have an arts heavy deck. So he will make a lot of use out of this skill, which is definitely really nice. He does have at least 1 skill that he can make good use of. Next up is the class skills. He does have 2 of them, and the first one is going to be the Magic Resistance B. Now this will increase his debuff resistance by 17.5%, and the second one is going to be Divinity D, which will apply damage plus 125. So now let's go ahead and take a look at his Ascension For his first ascension, he is going to need 4 Lancer pieces and 50,000 Quantum pieces. For his second ascension, he's going to need 10 Lancer pieces, 5 Phoenix feathers, and 150,000 Quantum pieces. For his third ascension, he's going to need 4 Lancer monuments, 24 evil bones, 3 claws of chaos, and 500,000 Quantum pieces. And then for his final ascension, he is going to need 10 Lancer monuments, 5 claws of chaos, 20 void dust, and 1.5 million Quantum pieces. And then for his skills, if you do decide to max them out, from 1 to 10, you're going to need 14 Gems of Lancer, 14 Magic Gems of Lancer, 14 Secret Gems of Lancer, 36 Evil Bones, 11 Phoenix Feathers, 20 Octuplet Crystals, 16 Serpent Jewels, 1 Crystallized Lore, and 27,200,000 Quantum pieces. So now moving on here to his command cards and his Noble Phantasm. So for his command card deck, he has 2 Quick, 2 Arts, and 1 Buster. You know, it's a pretty balanced deck. I guess you can make Arts Chains, but it's going to be a little bit difficult because you have to use your Noble Phantasm. And, you know, he doesn't really do much in far as Buster damage or Quick damage, really. So it's a little bit lacking there, which is another one of his, you know, drawbacks to the character. But his Noble Phantasm is Arts, and this will deal heavy damage to all enemies, as well as decrease the attack of all enemies on the overcharge for 3 turns. And then it will also grant him mental debuff resistance for 3 turns. So this is a okay Noble Phantasm. It does a pretty solid amount of damage, and having a attack debuff for the enemy team is very nice, and he can use the negate mental debuffs to wipe out the effect of his second skill. So, you know, there is that. That's pretty good. And there is an interlude quest that can buff up the amount of damage it does, so it'll go from 750% at level 5 to 900%. But I feel really bad for you if you've pulled 5 Fionns. So now moving on to some of the craft essences you can use on this character. First up is going to be his Bond craft essence, which is going to be the Salmon of Knowledge. Now, while equipped, this will increase your arts card effectiveness and your Noble Phantasm strength by 10% for all of your allies. So this is a pretty solid one to use because you get, you know, the arts increase and the Noble Phantasm increase, and those are kind of Fionn's 2 selling points, so, you know, he'll definitely benefit most from that. Outside of that, though, you can just go ahead and throw on Projection for the 15% increase or Formal Craft for the 25% increase, and that's pretty much it. Those are your best options, I feel, for Fionn. You just want to maximize his arts damage as much as possible. So now let's go ahead and talk about some servants you can combo with this character to make him somewhat usable, I guess. First up is going to be Joan of Arc. She is going to be more of a defensive servant, which will help kind of combat his, you know, Fionn's higher cooldowns. And, you know, you'll stretch out the fight a little bit longer, but you'll be able to recycle your stuff more. And it gives Fionn more time to get his Noble Phantasm ready. And, you know, his, like I said, his cooldowns will take a while to come back. Joan also does have, you know, her first skill, which will give you critical stars every turn, which can kind of combat a little bit with Fionn's first skill to get more stars. Although, like I said, you're not really trying to do crit damage with this character, but, you know, it is there if you do want to go ahead and use it. It's not like you can change the skills on the character. And then her Noble Phantasm is also very good as well. You know, being able to just grant, you know, a self-invincibility, and then you could do, like, Fionn's Taunt the second turn, and you're going to be healing back. And overall, like I said, it's just more of a defensive setup, but it does work pretty solidly, and she does have a heavy arts deck as well, which will help with arts chains to get the Noble Phantasms generated that much faster. Next up here for another servant you can use is going to be Mozart. Now this is a pretty solid character to use, mainly because of his first skill, which will increase the arts card effectiveness of your team for 1 turn, so you can combo that with Fionn's to have a pretty solid gain overall. And he does also have the third skill, which will grant critical stars, so you're going to get more stars there, and it is a pretty good amount of stars that you're going to get. Now you do need to do the rank up quest in order to get this, but once you get that done, it does combo very well. And he does also have an arts deck as well, so he has 4 arts cards overall, and he's also going to be able to decrease the attack of enemies, so you can combo that with Fionn's as well to just have an overall, you know, greater amount of decrease to the attack. So yeah, overall it's a pretty solid combination to use. Next up here are going to be the top 2 for every video I make, and that is going to be Waver and Tamino no Mai. Waver, though, is not nearly as useful as Tamino no Mai in this case. He's primarily there just to help Fionn increase his Noble Phantasm gauge, with all 3 of his skills being able to do that, as well as providing a few extra buffs along the way. And then his arts card deck as well will help combo with chains. But Tamino no Mai is definitely the MVP if you're going to use Fionn. She pretty much combats all of his weaknesses, being able to increase its arts card effectiveness by 50% for 3 turns, which is ridiculous on its own right. She can heal, so she can make Fionn survive longer. She can reduce his cooldowns, which, you know, that is something he sorely needs, like, very badly. He needs his cooldowns reduced greatly, and she can do that. And then she can increase the normal Phantasm gauge of him, and she has an arts deck, which will help arts chains go that much faster. So overall, if you are planning on using Fionn, make sure you take a Tama no no Mai with you. So now moving on here to his star rankings. First up for his stats, he's going to get a 3.5 out of 5. He is a 4-star servant, so naturally he does have higher stats, so he is going to be getting a little bit of a higher ranking in his stats. Next up for his skills, he's going to be getting a 2 out of 5 here. He does not have a very good kit of skills. They don't synergize very well. The second skill is admittedly good, but the fact that you have to max it in order to make it, you know, its most potential. Now, it's not like other skills where you have to max it to do the most damage. You know, it's not like that. The fact that you have to max it in order to have the 100% gain for your evasion is stupid. The character is not really that good, so the fact that you have to max the character just to make him decent at best, it's just a lot of wasted materials, and I personally will not even bother doing it unless he's the last character I need. And then, you know, his first skill doesn't really make a whole lot of sense with his, you know, kit and the way he works, and he only really has that one skill, his third skill, to even have some sort of redeeming qualities to the character. So yeah, 2 stars overall on his skills. Next up for his normal Phantasm, I'm giving him 2.5 stars here. It's a pretty average normal Phantasm. It doesn't do a whole... It does decent damage. It doesn't do, like, an insane amount of damage, though. And the other effects, they're nothing special, so just average normal Phantasm overall. And then for his survivability, I am going to give him 2 stars here. Now that might seem a little bit weird because of his second skill, but again, it's because you have to max the second skill in order for it to be the most effective, and it does also have a target focus on it. So if it's not maxed and you use it, Fionn's going to go down real fast, because odds are there's a pretty good chance that your evasion is going to miss, and if it misses, Fionn's going down real fast because of the target focus. They're all going to be attacking him. Now he does have naturally high HP as a 4-star Lancer, but overall, if you don't get that evasion off, he is going to be pretty squishy, and he has no other defensive or heal skills in his arsenal at all. And then for his versatility, I am also giving him 2 stars. He doesn't really offer much. Like I said, the second skill is good if it's maxed, and it can be used in certain situations to help, you know, survive. And after the rank up quest, he does have a team-wide buff for his first skill, although it is a little bit misplaced on this character. He does have a few team qualities to him that I can't drop him down to a 1-star like I would really want to. So yeah, overall, 2 stars in versatility. And then for his overall ranking, he is getting a 2.3 out of 5. I do wish his stats were lower so I could give him a lower ranking, but I'm trying to be fair here. I'm trying not to be overly critical, but 2.3 I feel is about where he belongs. So yeah, guys, that is it. That is the end of my 112th character spotlight. That is ridiculous when I think about it. I made the video on a whim, and these videos just kind of blew up, and I stuck with it. I keep trying to improve them. You know, I take the feedback you guys post in your comments the best I can and trying to incorporate that into my videos. I always do want to try and improve them and make them better. And this, like I said, this will be the last video for a while, but that's purely because of the fact that there are no more characters on Global for me to make videos for. But what I am going to do is I'm going to try and improve the overall layout of the character spotlights and the way that they are performed. I've already started making like new changes. I want to kind of expand on some of the other categories that I kind of just like gloss over a little bit, and I want to tweak it a little bit. It's not going to look too much different than it normally does, but there are a few ideas I have in my head that I want to work with, and I want to try and improve on those. And now that I've caught up on these videos, I have a little bit more time to sit down and tweak what, you know, is going to happen in these videos for the future. And I do have more time to plan out what I want to do, what I want to say, and hopefully that will allow me to increase the video quality of these videos. I know not all of them have been the best. Some of them have been very sloppy, and I do apologize for that. And I'm going to try in the future to make these videos much better for you guys to watch, and hopefully more helpful. And if you guys don't like the changes, then just let me know in the comments, and I could always just go back to the way I usually do it. But I do think that it's going to be a good change. But like I said, I take your guys' feedback into consideration, so it all really depends on what you guys think. So when these changes happen, just let me know what you guys think about them, and we can go from there. As for what I'm doing next, I do have a lot of videos planned, a lot of things I want to make, and now that the character spotlights have been caught up on, I have more time for that as well. So expect different types of videos to come out, at least until more characters come out in the game, and I can start these videos again. But I'm definitely planning on making a lot of videos, so stay tuned for that, and I think I'm done rambling on about what I'm planning on doing. So I will finish this video up here with Fionn's noble Phantasm. Don't forget to check the links below for my Twitter, Twitch, Patreon, and Discord, and I will see you guys next time.
Cumhail!